So what you have is a lot of philosophical, a lot of thinking tanks and emotional stuff, and it's like a bunch of people talking, right? No action, right? How do you how do you master this energy? While everybody is talking, guess what you're doing? You're acting.
And one other thing I'd like to say, any artist out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star, and don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the record, dancing. Come to Death Row.
It's your baby mama's favorite astrologer.
You are now tapped in with the Hood Mystic. You are traveling with the Hood Mystic.
Big Pegasus energy. So we're going to continue our little story of Medusa, because I thought this would be cool. Turns out it's aggravating me. So I'm gonna cut it off, and we're going to talk about Mars trine Neptune. Mars is in Libra, behind all of the action. It is trining Neptune because all of the energy has progressed into Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius. Uranus is in Aries. So from Aries to Mars, Mars in Libra, that's all of our celestial cosmological energy in that upper half. So what that says specifically is if you're in that lower energy of wanting things and materialism and relationship, toxic, liking people on face values and not trying to get your spiritual order in life, you really having a tough time out here in these streets. And you probably blaming your baby dad because of it. In the reality, Capricorn, Saturn is about connecting to your higher self. Our problem is we connected to our baby mama and our baby daddy and our girlfriend and our boyfriend before we connected to our soul. Very simple. You care about your relationship status, you care about your finances more than you care about your soul. What is the greatest irony? That when you connect with your higher self, you get the love, you get the money in abundance. But you won't never know until you know. So Mars trine Neptune, which takes place today, right now, is a constellation called Neptune. Is of course on the ecliptic in the barrier between Aquarius and Pisces. But above this energy is the constellation of Pegasus. Pegasus is, we got to talk about this story in this mythology so it can make some sense to us. So, yes, last week we had not last week, 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago, we had a full lunar eclipse conjunct. The moon was conjunct the fixed star, Algol, which represents Medusa. Now, this little guy at the bottom of the page, he's holding that head. That's the fixed star of Medusa. Now, when we first got into consciousness and spirituality and we was hearing all of this mythologies, we was trying to decode these mythologies, and we would say, oh, it's about black women with faux locks. It's about the divine goddess and things of that nature. It very well could be you and your locks representing Medusa energy. However, the more I study, I just see it as a cosmological story that probably don't have nothing to do with nothing specifically other than keeping us disconnected from our cosmological inheritance. And then within the story, it tells you what this cosmological inheritance is if you understand the deeper level of the story. So generally we stop at Perseus cutting the head off Medusa. Sad about it. Why he do Medusa like that? That ain't right. Perseus gonna get his one day. However, the story continues, and it continues cosmologically. The blood that fell upon the ocean that Poseidon rules, because as y'all know, or maybe y'all don't know, this part of the sky is called the deep ocean. In the Bible, they talk about the firmament being like space is just us being covered in water, basically. And that part of the sky is the ocean part of the sky. So essentially, when Perseus kills Medusa, a piece of her blood mates with the ocean, which creates Pegasus. Pegasus is a free flowing vehicle, allowing us to go from worlds to worlds. His mama is Medusa, his daddy is Poseidon. To bring that down to regular normal terms, because that would be like, well, what the fuck? When I first read shit, I'd be like, his mama is Medusa and his daddy is Poseidon. Big fucking deal. Like, what are we talking about here? But let's think about this. Medusa is the goddess energy. Of course, what is Al Ghul? Al Ghul is a Bohemian star. So we're gonna put that in the chat for those that just now getting here. Bohemian star are stars that you can do magic with, right? Because you channeling and bringing forth that cosmic star energy. And trust me, these stars are huge in comparison to our stars. However, Medusa represents this cosmic energy, and Perseus, i.e., Perseus represents, the name is escaping me right now, but in Babylonian mythology, this young god comes up and he says, you know what? I can defeat the goddesses, but you got to make me king. And the old gods and the in-between gods say, man, whatever you do, I don't care. We'll worship you forever for the end of time if you can get rid of the goddess. And so he does it, right? And that's our Jesus energy. That's our Saturn energy. That's our patriarchy energy. And ultimately, the matriarchy is dead. But what is the matriarchy in a cosmological sense? The matriarchy is power. When Perseus disconnects human beings from power, that energy creates a Pegasus. Now, what does a Pegasus represent? Well, when you have this divine energy and you made it with Poseidon, Poseidon is the god of the ocean. So when you think about the ocean, in its most basic sense, the ocean is just huge, right? To count all of the water molecules in the ocean will take you a million lifetimes. The ocean is just huge. It's just extremely vast. It's a whole different ecosystem in comparison to the land. There's more water on this planet than it is Earth. It's a lot of Earth. So I'm saying that all to say that's abundance. Abundance plus magic equates to imagination. Okay? So Mars, trine Neptune. Neptune is conjunct the fixed star in Pegasus, or the constellation in Pegasus. So Neptune and Pegasus is imagination, and this energy works two ways. You can imagine your boyfriend to be a piece of shit, and then everything that he do to cement that idea of him being a piece of shit just confirms your intuition. So when you look at Neptune conjunct Pegasus, or Neptune in a deep immersive imagination, you can imagine the most bullshit scenario. And because you imagine this most bullshit scenario, it surrounds you with bullshit energy. So if you are unbalanced, if you are abnormal, if you're dealing with a lot of disappointments, are you dealing with emotional issues, or are you in a romantic relationship before having a one-on-one relationship with your soul, which you should have done within Gemini, but you thought Gemini energy was negative energy. So all you did was suppress the work that you needed to connect with your soul. And now you're trying to solve it through romantic relationships. Thus, that's imagination. You imagine that this relationship is going to save you. You imagine that this person is going to change. You imagine that they're going to clean up. You imagine that everybody loves you, imagine this, imagine that. And the reality is that if it doesn't meet up with Mars, the planet of action, Neptune, just thinking and imagining, that's all it's going to be. Okay? So balance out your mind and understand that it's cool to imagine, but you would have to have a specific goal to deal with how you like a goal, direction, and an action is a manifestation. A pure imagination, no matter how good it makes you feel, no matter how powerful it is, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? If you don't put any action to it. So Mars will be trying this energy, right? Now, it's real easy at this part of the zodiac. If you're Aquarius, got a moon in Aquarius, Pisces, Capricorn, these people are generally the worst type of people because y'all just know it all. And because you know it all, you don't sit and try to learn a person with real integrity and real sincerity. You imagine that your judgments and your overall energy is just going to pull you through life. And even if you 10th, 11th, 12th house placements, you do yourself a disservice by not learning because it's an arrogance that I don't think anybody talks to. Aquarius, Capricorn, Pisces, 10th, 11th, 12th house, the arrogance is overwhelming, right? And I'm a sun in the 11th house. So I can understand how like you can have a purpose and all of that, but the fact that you do it, you just be like it make you feel better as opposed to like learning how to deliver effectively. Or it's not like if I do something I could just feel great about it. No, I have to do things and not let it get to my head because tomorrow is a whole new set of challenges. And if I be like, well, I'm the hood mystic, you should be doing like that's some crazy ass shit. But I say all of that to say it's some spiritual people who actually feel as though they don't have to actually put their fire to the flame. You know, they got to put their sword into it. They just all arrogance. And the reality is that people like that. So you might not ever get checked on that other than your inner world and the fact that people is not really fucking with you. Right? People is just you rubbing people the wrong way. And the reality is that people are not even going to tell you. People are just going to stop fucking with you. And the deeper thing is that your arrogance blocked you from learning. And because you arrogant, nobody was even going to tell you that you was arrogant. It was just better just to not deal with you. So think about that as you deal with Mars trine Neptune and really figuring out relationships and opportunities that you can learn versus expecting or imagining that this person or energy or situation is going to save you. Mars trine Neptune, in its truest sense, would be to pick a philanthropic endeavor, a space where you volunteer, a place where you are giving your energy with nothing in return, and you set up a long term arrangement. For me personally, what my Mars trine Neptune looks like is me working with a youth group, some young people who really trying to do some major things, and I'm doing a weekly meditation with with these young people, right? For no money, for free, um, volunteer base, and in real life, you know, because I know that teaching these kids now, these kids is future. They not even kids. They in their 20s. They future millionaires. See, you got to get outside of getting things in return, right? Because that blocks your imagination. Your imagination, especially in the context of Pegasus, is more centered on what you can do. Sometimes we try to involve our imagination in what we can get, and that's where we fuck up at. Sun conjunct Mercury, conjunct Saturn, as we said earlier, maybe y'all new here, didn't get the memo. The sun will be conjunct the fixed star in Taurus. And the sun conjunct the fixed star in Taurus. Let me see. I might have not. I wasn't finished here. So we're going to go back. There's a couple more things I want to touch on. And I don't want to touch on it like that. Trying to figure out. Is it froze? No. It's just me looking down. All right, cool. Here we go. Pull it up, pull it up, pull it up, pull it up. There we go. Woo! Goodness gracious. So this is big tortoise and hare energy. Now, like I said, Mars is behind the action in Libra. All of the planets have went forward. Like Mars is the most powerful planet because it's the planet of action. So what you have is a lot of philosophical, a lot of thinking tanks and emotional stuff, and it's like a bunch of people talking, right? No action, right? How do you master this energy? While everybody is talking, guess what you're doing? You're acting, right? And if you act in your own little small little way and doing this little thing that you need to do, slow and steady wins the race type energy. This is a solar eclipse. So we set in our intentions through our actions, of course. But at the same time, we're not in competition, nor are we rushed, because all of these energies are going to have to meet up with action at some point. And a lot of times, you're probably in a situation right now where a person is talking a good game. How do I know that you in a situation where a person is talking a good game? Because if ain't no action around it, then talking a good game is going to be big hair energy. You running first out the gates. But when it's all said and done, you should have had your energy intact, or a plan or an action plan in relation to that big talk energy. I'm old enough now. I'm 37 years old. There's nothing that nobody can tell me ever. You cannot tell me a damn thing. If you feel like talking to me is moving me, it's just mainly me, because I just heard so many people talk, that if you don't act without me saying anything, then you probably gonna waste my time. Another thing, what's understood don't need to be said, and what's said don't need it. That don't even make sense, anyways. I thought I had something. I did.